We are still going through our study of the Transfiguration. You're probably getting tired of it. That's okay. Matthew 17. So what we've done so far is we've explored the chronology of the Transfiguration, and we've looked at the context of the Transfiguration. So we looked at what comes before and after, and how all that plays a role in the story and how the story plays a role in that narrative. The Transfiguration is a real high point, and it fits right in the climax of particularly Matthew and Mark. And then we looked at some of the context, so the setting stuff. There were mountains and clouds and different things like that. Why is it important that this happens 6 or 8 days, depending on who you read, after Caesarea Philippi or after the prediction Jesus made? So what we want to look now is some of the characters in this story. And today, hopefully we get through all this, but if not, that's okay. We want to begin by looking at the first group of 3, and that is Peter, James, and John. And I'll put there Oxford, comma, unite. Lonnie, do you have a strong opinion about Oxford, comma? No. Okay, all right. It's just, I do. I think you should use it. If you know what Oxford, comma is, don't worry about it. But I read a translation that had Peter, James, and John. Didn't use Oxford Common. It bothered me more than it should. So that's just a free little gift for you. But Peter, James, and John. So these 3 individuals are referenced in all 3 synoptics and in Peter's telling. So if you do have Matthew open up in front of you, is usually where we're going to be. I'll throw it up here. Oh, I forgot I did this. Any idea who this is? Does anyone know? It's Joseph Smith. That's Oliver Cromley. I don't know, Oliver C-R-O-W something. That is Peter, James, and John. So in Mormonism, there's the Melchizedek priesthood, and then there's the Aaronic priesthood, and this is the ordination of the reinstitution of the Melchizedek priesthood. Don't worry about it. But I typed in Peter, James, and John image, and this is what came up. And I thought, well, why not? Let's roll with it. So they play, apparently, a pretty prominent role in Mormon theology. And there's your boy, Joe Smith, getting ordained into the Melchizedek priesthood. It's a shame they didn't do that for him to be president of the United States, because he was running for president when he died. Yeah, he was running for president. Yeah. That's a fascinating story in itself. It was right around there. 44, that's Polk, right? Okay, that may be right. 44 is around the time the Millerites are making their prediction. So you get the Jehovah's Witnesses, they come later. Mormons, the Adventist movement, Seventh-day Adventists and others, they're all kind of happening about the same time. The Shakers are doing their things. They all come out of New York area called the Burnout District. Have you heard of that? The Burnout District. And there's just this area of New York where all these movements come out of. And it's because of the Second Great Awakening. And so Mormonism is one of them. So he comes out of New York, and he lands in Illinois, gets kicked out of there, and they have to. So anyways, what were we talking about? Peter, James, and John. That's right. They appear in the synoptics. Here they are. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John. Mark, Peter, James, and John. Luke, Peter, James, and John. And this is interesting I didn't put it up here. In 2 Peter, Peter says, we ourselves heard this very voice born of heaven, when he's talking about the Transfiguration. Now, we is rather generic, but clearly he understands in his retelling of it, it's me and some others. So it's not just me and Jesus, it's me and a group of others. And of course, we know their names given the synoptics. But the question is, why did Jesus take these 3? Why didn't he take Bartholomew, Nathaniel? Why didn't he take Andrew? As we'll see, Andrew was a prominent disciple. Why not take the others? Well, let's say, first of all, the text doesn't tell us. And if the Bible doesn't tell you, it could be because none of your business. Okay? Look, I don't know where Cain got his wife because the Bible doesn't tell us. None of your business. Okay? Drop it. Okay? That's my official answer to a question everyone asks. But there may be some things we can get from this. One of them is It's not unique for Jesus to isolate these three. In fact, Mark's gospel seems to place a big emphasis on this. Let me give you a few examples. At the raising of Jairus' daughter, we see that she is found dead, and don't bother Jesus anymore. And Jesus says, "Don't fear, believe." And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. Right? Just those three got to witness this. Now, remember, I think Mark is basically Peter's gospel. I think Mark is relying on Matthew and Peter's teaching, but it's neither here nor there. So this would be an eyewitness account. Another one would be the Olivet Discourse. This is something I've got to give some thought to. So this is after the disciples marvel at the temple. Verse 3, he sat on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Peter, James, and John, and Andrew. So there's four here. Andrew sometimes pops up at the inner three. There's always the extra, right? It's like going on a date, but your little sister. Jewish myth, there's all kinds of them. They're everywhere. If you ever studied the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Nag Hammadi, all that. One of those is the Assumption of Moses, which tells the story of the angel, Archangel Michael and Satan fighting over the body of Moses. You know, and Jude is referencing that not because it's true necessarily, could be, but because of it was probably a text that the false teachers believed in. Some Jewish texts, like Josephus and Philo, hint to the idea that Moses was actually raptured, so he can't find his body. So he was buried in the sense that he didn't die. Now, why is that so important? Who's the other cat on top of the mountain with Jesus? A guy we did know to use the word rapture. So, 2 Kings 2, as Elijah and Elisha still went on and talked, behold, chariots of fire and horses of fire separated to them. Elijah went up in the whirlwind of heaven. That's how he died. So put this together, okay? Which, by the way, we may come to this. Notice the fire. Many connect this as a type of transfiguration. Elijah had to be, and we'll come to that here in a minute. But this is what I want you to see. That if you take these two narratives, Moses being buried and Elijah being raptured, if I can use that word, when they meet on the mountain, in terms of where they leave off in the Bible, Moses has to come up from the earth, Elijah has to come down from the heavens. Both have these weird stories of their deaths. One comes from below, so Sheol, if you will. The other must come from above, which implies Jesus is the Lord and has authority over the entire cosmos. For example, Philippians 2, Paul will write, at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow, and every tongue will confess what? That he is Lord. Now, where's every knee and every tongue? In heaven, on earth, under the earth. That's a very common ancient way of viewing it. Clearly, Jesus is the God of living. The other is, that both figures were transfigured. Moses, we know, was transfigured. Remember, he had to veil his face because he was in the presence of God. That's a type of transfiguration. Elijah, with the fire and all that, most agree Elijah could not be swept into the heavens as he was. So in some mysterious way, he had to be transformed in order to be fit to be in the presence of God. So both men request to experience the full glory of God, but it is not until this moment both men witness the full glory of God in the narrative of the Bible. So here, these two guys, they wanted this. They want what Peter, James, and John are seeing, and what we, the reader, are experiencing. But they had to wait until the arrival of Jesus to see what they wanted. It's incredible. So why does all this matter? Well, ultimately, Moses and Elijah are significant markers in identifying Jesus as the Messiah. So in the narrative, their appearance and Peter, James, and John's reaction leads to God speaking in the cloud, from the cloud. It is the cloud, right? It's the mystery of the Trinity here. This is my beloved Son. Now remember, Moses means son of. Now it means one drawn from water. That's the Hebrew. The Egyptian name Moses means son of. I can prove it to you. Thut Moses, the Egyptian pharaoh, means son of Thut. It's an Egyptian god. Ramesses, son of Ra. It's Ra Moses. And there's others. There's Moses. There's others. Moses means son of. So if you read the story of the Exodus, the question is, whose father is Moses' father? Is it the unnamed father who sent him starts to get a little trippy, but just leave it there.